Well, I mean, obviously, so our chat today is kind of tied around the release of Max Cloud,
Sure.
which I really enjoyed. I actually spoke to Scott last week. It was a good laugh as well.
Oh, nice.
So I'm going to begin by asking really just what it was that attracted you to this project. What was it that made you think that Max Cloud was the next project for you?
Well, so I've worked with Martin Owen, the director of this film, writer-director of this film, a couple of times, and we'd just done a documentary together. I think that's the right timeline. I'm trying to remember now because we've done like 3 or 4 films together and a documentary. Yeah, we've just done a documentary, which is still pending for release, where basically I learned to do mixed martial arts and then basically got in the ring and had a real fight. So we'd just done that, which was pretty nuts. And so, you know, having done that with Martin, we were good mates anyway, but because we'd done that, we kind of got a lot closer. It was quite an experience, that was. And Martin basically rang me and he said, "Oh, I'm writing a script. I'm trying to fit it in before Christmas. We're going to try and shoot it." And this was in like, I think it was like a couple of months. I think it was like October. So I was like, "Well, you want to shoot this? When do you want to shoot this?" And he's like, "Yeah, well, basically, I've got this idea. We haven't really sort of thought about who's going to be in it yet and anything else." And he said, "Oh, is there a character? If I was going to sort of, what kind of character would you like to play in it?" Which is obviously very flattering when a director asks you a question like that. And he'd kind of been feeling out the idea, and I was like, "Well, anything that we haven't done before, really. Anything that's a bit different. Something where I get to just play a character that's a bit nuts. Something that, you know, that would really push me." And so, you know, however long after that, he rang me back and he was like, "Right, okay, so you're gonna be this character that basically a 16-year-old girl is playing a game. She gets sucked into the game and she becomes you, and you're this useless character on this spaceship." I was like, "Right, okay." So I'm essentially a 16-year-old girl stuck in a man's body. That's different. That's not a part I've ever thought about playing. It was a very and you know, when you get offered a role like that, it's just, you can't turn that down. That's a once in a lifetime, I think, playing a part like that. So it was just, yeah, the strength of the idea. I loved the idea of being able to sort of embody completely different mannerisms, and I was hoping that we would know who was going to be playing the 16-year-old girl in advance, so that I could, you know, pick up her mannerisms and try and not do an impersonation, but try and you know, embody that person and really study them. But unfortunately, Isabelle Allen came on quite last minute, so we'd already pretty much started shooting by the time she was confirmed that she was going to play that part.
Probably had to copy your mannerisms then.
Yeah, exactly. So it was the other way around.
Yeah, no, it's just funny because when you said just now that he said, Martin said you can kind of choose your role, I thought, oh my God, did you specifically request playing a 16-year-old girl, but then realise you just said nuts? And then obviously, yeah. He fulfilled your wish though, didn't he? So
oh yeah, no, he did. He did, and because I think because we've got that rapport, we've worked with each other a few times. I think he has faith in me, and he knows that, you know, whatever part he throws at me, I'm gonna give it the beans. So it was just really nice because it was genuinely a very different part, and just a really good fun to play.
Yeah, but that's what Scott kept saying when I interviewed him. He just kept highlighting just how much fun this was. And I mean, it's so easy, isn't it, as kind of audience members? We kind of look, we watch films on a kind of on one level, but as an actor, ultimately, your experience above anything else just kind of needs to be enjoyable, doesn't it? So that it must be great when you make a project that sort of forgetting anything else, forgetting how it's received or anything, where it ends up, what streaming site, whatever. Ultimately, for you, I guess the most important thing is just that you enjoy making it.
For sure, yeah. As an experience, I mean, this one ticked a lot of boxes. It was something very different, and yeah, I mean, when I first read the script, I was just like, yeah, this is nuts. This is absolutely mental. So yeah, it was just, yeah. I mean, it's one of those ones where you go, this is going to be fun, no matter what.
Yeah. No, because obviously you mentioned your working relationship with Martin. It's a very strong one. It must be great when you kind of develop these collaborations in this industry. Because I guess now you two have got this kind of shorthand. You're working, well, you've worked together since on Twist as well, and it does feel like I mean, the fact that he came to you and said what sort of character you want to play is such a kind of a novel kind of thing, but such a brilliant thing. So how did you guys first meet, and what was it that first kind of ignited this relationship?
So I auditioned for his film Let's Be Evil, which it's got to be about 6 years ago now, 5-6 years ago, and it was just after Northern Soul had come out. And Martin said to me at the audition, he was like, "Oh, we kind of had an idea who we wanted to play this part, but then I bought Northern Soul and I watched it, and I was like, I know it's not the same character, but I really like that actor, and I think I'd like to see if he could play this role because it was an American role." And so yeah, I got a call. He called my agent, and I went in to have an audition, expecting, obviously I had the script and everything else, expecting to, do the usual protocol, do a reading and everything else. And we just had a chat, and it was really nice. And because I'm dyslexic, so auditions for me, when you're under pressure to read, tends to go pretty badly for me. So the fact that he was just open to having a conversation about what the character could be and what I would bring to the table and how we would collaborate, that was a game changer for me. That is the ideal approach for me. So we just had a chat about it, and he was like, "Yeah, I think you'd be great. Let's do it." And I was like, "Okay, cool." So we went from there. We did Let's Be Evil, and then that was a great experience, really good fun. And then we did Killers Anonymous, and every time Martin does a film as well, the budget, the cast, everything goes up a level. So it's always really interesting to see, like with Twist, his latest film, which is coming out next year after Max Cloud. I mean, I got to do a scene with Michael Caine, which just for me was insane. So it's always really interesting to see who he's going to bring to the table, and I'm very appreciative of the fact that he has faith in me, and he has brought me along on these journeys, because he doesn't have to do that. So it's lovely. It's really nice. It's a real family feel, and there's a certain comfort in that, and with that comfort you feel like you can play a bit more with the characters.
Yeah. How was it shooting with Michael Caine? I mean, when you're in a scene with Michael Caine, are you able, I know it's literally your job to not be Elliot in those moments, but we're in that, when you're opposite Michael Caine, is there a little thing at the back of your head that just goes, fucking hell, that's Michael Caine? Or are you able to block that out?
Oh no, I'm doing a scene and my head's going, fucking hell, that's Michael Caine. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's one of those things where you don't want to be the guy that screws up in front of Michael Caine. But actually, he was absolutely wonderful. And when we did for the main bit of dialogue for me, we did the rehearsal of the scene, and Michael comes in, and I'd already at this point had a chat with him, and he was really nice and really welcoming and stuff. So I was a little bit at ease, but I still was like, I've got to speak words in front of Michael Caine now. And we did the rehearsal, and I can't remember what I did, but we were doing this scene, and I meant to be kind of intimidated by him and a little bit kind of like a little, kind of as I was really intimidated. And I can't remember what I did, but I made him laugh in the rehearsal, and he was like, "That's very good." And after that, I was like, "Okay, cool, great. Let's have fun with it." Yeah. Before that, I was absolutely shit myself.
How do you fit into Twist? What's your character in that one? Are you allowed to speak about that yet?
I'm not sure I'm allowed to say. I haven't got a massive part in this. But the film, I haven't actually seen it yet. But the bits I've seen, it looks really good fun, and obviously everyone knows the classic story of Oliver Twist. So it'll be interesting to see how they've done that and brought it into the modern day. And all I can say is Michael Caine as Fagin is a perfect fit.
Yeah. Well, touch wood, I don't actually know yet if it's going to be the case, but I've been potentially invited to do an actual physical junket for Twist. As like the first actual in-person junket that I would have done for about a year. So I'm hoping it could be quite a landmark junket. So I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's just
that's really good though. That means at least things are moving forward.
I hope so, yeah. But then obviously, you know, things are changing every week. But you mentioned Northern Soul. I just wanted to speak to you about that because I love that film so much, and I thought, and I'm not a gush, but honestly, I thought your performance in it was just incredible. I remember seeing it, and I remember feeling that feeling of when you first fall in love with like music and you become part of something for the first time, and you're like 17, 16, 18, whatever you are. I remember feeling that in the cinema. I almost had like goosebumps, and I think it was an incredible project. I just remember how much of a great experience was that for you? Because I've interviewed lots of the kind of This Is England's crowd and people from like the Shea Meadows, and they always have to go look back to like their time making that movie, and the way they speak about it was always so precious. And I got a kind of sense from the Northern Soul Collective that it might have been quite a similar thing, because it felt like you guys went through so much together on that shoot.
Oh man, definitely. Thank you, because that means a lot. It's lovely to hear that people, you know, enjoy your films, and that one in particular seems to be. There was a thing that I saw the other day where people were talking about how it's like a hidden gem and stuff. So it's one of those films that I feel like is still growing its audience, which is amazing. But yeah, that film, it was my first film and it was my first lead. So I'd only done TV up until that point. So for me, that was a big leap in terms of shouldering a film. It felt like at the time, it felt like I was shouldering it and everything, like, you know, the pressure and everything else. But it was a wonderful experience. And we did, because I met Elaine Constantine, the director, years before, when I was probably the right age for the part. I met her when I was 18, 19. And it was like I was doing some sort of, it was like a photo shoot for, it was like a commercial, and she basically said to me, she was like, "Oh, you look like John Clark." And I was like, okay, thinking, am I supposed to know who's John Clark? And she was like, "Oh, I've been writing this script for 10 years. And she explained all about it and Northern Soul and everything else. And for me, you know, I'm from Kingston, so Northern Soul, I knew of the music, but I wasn't aware of the following of it and everything else. And she completely opened my eyes to this thing that I wasn't aware of. And so from that point, we didn't shoot the film until I was 25. So, you know, 6 years after meeting Elaine, and we had lots of back and forth, and she sent me the script, and you know, at the time I was thinking, oh, could this actually happen? This would be amazing. But years went by and they were trying to get the funding, and it was a real struggle for Elaine. I mean, hats off to her. She got there in the end, but it was there was so many ups and downs to whether or not it was going to happen. Like with a lot of, you know, low budget British films. And yeah, I learned to dance in that time. I did all the things I needed to do. I grew my hair. I was working on TV at the time. I was doing Hollyoakes, and I had to subtly lose weight, grow my hair, and not let them cut it, and all these things, because you know, we thought the film was going to happen, and it just kept moving 3 months, 2 months at a time. And so I had to look the part ready just in case we got the green light. And then eventually I ended up leaving Hollyoakes to do the film. But then the film didn't happen for another 2.5 years. So it was a real journey, and to actually get on that set and be doing that film and be that character, such a sigh of relief. And by the time we got there, it was just like we were so ready to go that it was an amazing experience. And I mean, really, I owe the fact that I'm doing films now to Elaine. She put a lot of faith in me, who at the time hadn't done hardly anything really. Yeah, it was an amazing experience, and actually you take it for granted a little bit at the time, because you think, oh, all films are like this, all movies are going to be special, and like you're going to have loads of time to rehearse and to learn these characters and do all these things, and then, you know, going on to the next one, you realize that, you know, you never have that much time. So it was a real bonus to get so much time to prep for a part, and to dedicate yourself to it. So I mean, it was amazing, and the fact that the film went on, and we managed to go to Toronto with it, and it was nominated for a BAFTA and all these things. Once you've done that with your first film, you kind of don't expect it with the next one, but you think, oh, that's how it is. So it's always been, for me, I've always been like looking for films that have been as special as that one. So yeah, it was a real, it was a great experience, and the character was just, I mean, everyone just thought I was Northern for years, which is the biggest compliment.
Yeah. I just like the idea though of you just turning back up to Hollyoakes about 2 years later with just really long hair, going, right, where were we? But
yeah.
Do you still remember, just out of interest, do you still remember the moves, or do you still listen to the music at all?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not as flexible as I was, because I could do the box splits, I could do splits, I really got down to being able to do all the things I needed to do, and obviously I haven't got the bendiness that I had, but I can still do all the shuffling and the footwork and things like that. You know, whip it out every now and then. But
because I was going to say, because you mentioned about learning how to fight as well. I mean, it's a great kind of thing, isn't it? These kind of experiences you must pick up.
Yeah.
I remember I once spoke to an actor, and things I took for granted was they learned to they had to do lessons on how to ride a horse with a massive sword in their hand. And you think, oh yeah, all those times you see actors in movies riding horses with swords, that takes training and stuff. It's an incredible thing, isn't it, what you do in terms of picking up these random little skills like dancing and I mean, the fighting thing sounds fascinating as well.
I think that's an absolute bonus when you get a role and they go, right, you need to do this as well, and this is something you need to learn. I think it's just great, because it, you know, like with anything, if you learn to play the piano or anything like that, if you're then told you have to learn the piano, but you have 6 months, you cram in way more than you ever would, just because of the fear of not being able to do it. So it's great, because you get to learn things that you wouldn't really there's no other way of doing it that quickly, really. So I love it when I get to do a film and get to pick up new hobbies, I guess.
Because I just wish that someone gave me a part in a movie to learn the piano, because I said at the beginning of lockdown I was going to learn the piano, and I didn't even buy one, so I didn't even get as far as trying it once. But talking about other hobbies, because I was going to ask Scott this and I actually forgot to when I interviewed him last week, but we find out Max Cloud in the movie has a passion for pastry baking, and I was wondering, what have you got any kind of hobbies or passions outside of film?
All my passions and hobbies are film, but no, there are a few. To be honest, doing that documentary with Martin and learning martial arts, I've now really got into jiu-jitsu. So I do Brazilian jiu-jitsu 3 or 4 times a week. So that's something, especially during lockdown, obviously it's not quite the same because you don't get to do one-on-one or anything like that throughout this period. But, you know, just learning something like that and slowly getting better at it, and something that you can focus on when, you know, there's not so much work around. So I've really got into that, actually, and it's a really good discipline and fitness wise. It's a fun way of staying fit. I've got a bit bored of going to the gym and doing repetitive, you know, things that you normally do in the gym, and then this is really hard work, and it really keeps your fitness up. So that's been great fun. But other than that, I mean, for me, film is, all my hobbies involve film. I try and watch a film a day to just kind of try and keep in the loop as well. And I like to be up on who's my competition, who are the people that I'd like to work with, and everything about film, I love it. I'm a proper little film geek, really.
So what's today's film, if you've got one planned?
Today's film, I was gonna rewatch. I was trying to push my girlfriend into watching Total Recall, the original with Arnold Schwarzenegger. She's not seen it, so I've been trying to get her to watch that for the last couple of weeks. But maybe that. I like to mix it up, watch some new things and watch some old things, and I mean, it's hard at the moment, isn't it? Because there's not so much new material. Well, there is a lot of new material, but I feel like there's a small select few which is actually worth watching.
Yeah, I think this time of year, this is the December, January time is all the big BAFTA and Oscar films, isn't it? And this year there's been nothing like that.
Yeah. So yeah, I have Netflix and Amazon Prime and all that, so I like to see what's new and see what's on and watch everything, really.
Yeah. So my final sort of question really is just looking ahead to next year. Just wondering, sort of, because obviously this year was all a bit up in the air, but I was looking at what you have. Is it The War Below, the World War One? That's coming out next year, isn't it? But what was that experience like? Because we talk about kind of experiences that must really be quite affecting. I mean, to play in a World War One set drama. I mean, how was that? That must have been quite a challenging but quite rewarding experience, I guess.
Yeah, that was an incredible film to work on, actually, and John Watts, the director, he wrote it as well, and it's an incredible true story, which again, like Northern Soul, I wasn't aware of.
Northern Soul is a true story.
No, sorry.
I see.
Right, it's as Northern Soul was written and directed by a person. Sorry. No, yeah, Northern Soul was based on Northern Soul actually was based on a lot of real people, and it was based on real situations, but not the characters were kind of a mixture of people that Elaine knew.
Yeah.
But what I meant by that was that it's having a writer and a director, and if it's their script and they've written it and then they're directing it, I always find that they've got a really clear vision, and they've got obviously passion behind it because they've spent years writing it. So John did the same thing with this, and the story is basically about a bunch of northern miners. They get roped into going into war because they have this plan where they want to dig a tunnel underneath and come up behind the enemy lines and then blow up the German front. So they basically wanted diggers to do that. So we're not supposed to be trained soldiers. And I looked all of this up, and I looked up, the characters we were playing and everything else, and it's an incredible story. I mean, I don't know how much they've obviously dramatized it to make it, more of a film, but essentially, when you look up the backstory to it, it's one of the key elements that won us the war.
Wow!
So it's an incredible story, and one that I just wasn't aware of, and I just think how has this not been more told? Maybe it's just me being ignorant, and people that are war buffs, I'm sure are fully aware of it, but I was not. And just reading the script, I couldn't believe it was a true story. But yeah, that's being released next year. I'm not 100% sure on the date yet. I'm not 100% sure if I can say the date. I don't know what I can say. But we were sent the trailer the other day, which hasn't been released yet, and it looks incredible. John's done a really good job, and John's background is special effects. So he because we had a low British budget, he basically went through and he's done all the visual effects himself by hand. And I watched the trailer the other day, and I was like, how, like, for the budget they've done an incredible job. So I'm really excited about that one. All right, I can't wait for people to see it. It'll be it's going to be a good one, I think.
No, I'm looking forward to seeing that. But that's just my sort of very, very final thing before I do go, which really just looking ahead to next year, because obviously that's being released next year, but you've obviously shot it and stuff. But have you got much in the pipeline in terms of projects you've yet to shoot?
Yeah, so actually, I've been trying to make the most of this situation where everyone's been out of work and we've all been sitting at home and trying to be productive. So I've been writing, and I've always written in between projects. So I just keep the mind ticking and keep your foot in the pond, as it were. So I've been writing scripts, and so very early doors. But one of my scripts is in early development. So a lot of my time has gone into that recently. So we're hoping to get that off the ground next year. So that for me is the main thing, and it's a film that I've written not only to be, obviously, as the writer, but I've got a part in there for myself as well. So hopefully that'll come off, and we're early days at the moment, but optimistic, crossing my fingers. That's the main thing. And then there's a few other little bits, but as you know, this year's just been a bit mental. So yeah, just trying to keep busy really and keep positive. And a lot of my mates that are in the same position, you know, we have weekly chats on, like, you know, so what's going on? Is there anything? And it's just I keep optimistic, I guess, and wait for things to blow over and hopefully go back to normal very soon.
Yeah, oh, it's exciting about the screenplay there. Best of luck with that. And yeah, I'm just going to would you direct as well, maybe, or not direct this screenplay necessarily, but is that something you've thought about too?
I would love to. Yeah. This one, unfortunately for me, first time director, it will need quite a substantial budget. So that, I mean, for me is out of the question. But I would like to first prove myself as a writer. And then I am actually, at the moment, I'm writing something else that's a lot lower budget and something that I think could be made a lot easier than the one we've already kind of started the motion on. But I would like to, at some point I would really like to, because I enjoy, like when I write as well, writing the dialogue and things like that. For me, being an actor, you know, I sit here like a madman speaking out the words and making sure they sound like, if I was given that script, are those words easily learned, easily said? Are they real? And for me, I would really enjoy that process as a director, being able to collaborate with actors. And you know, sometimes if you have a director that hasn't written or they are just a director, sometimes there's a different approach. And I've really enjoyed the directors that I've worked with that have been actors or writers. It's a slightly different dynamic, and I would love to be in that collaboration and to give that a go at some point. Just have to work my way up, I guess. See when that opportunity arises, but I'd love to.
Exciting times ahead, I think.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, hopefully, we'll cross paths again one day, and maybe, you know, by the time, actually, I was going to say, you know, do something like this again for The War Below, but by the time that comes out, we might be able to do interviews like this in person. Who knows? In that break.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, we'll keep you in the loop about that, because we're at the moment we are waiting for the official release date. So when we do know, we'll let you guys know. And I'm a big fan of you guys. So. I'd love to. That'd be great.
Oh, cheers. Well, it's good to meet. Meet you, sort of Zoom, Elliot. But yeah,
it's a weird one, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. I mean, but I think I did an interview with Spike Lee at the beginning of lockdown. I made sure I told everyone I'd met Spike Lee. So, you know,
it counts. It counts.
Yeah, he can. But anyway, thanks so much for this, and have a nice festive day and a nice Christmas. And we'll catch up in the new year for sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys.
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey You Guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yes.
Nice.
Hey You Guys!